1935.
I see that, like, old.
It took 20,000 men almost 5 years to complete. And if you take a look out the left side of the bus, you'll see the train depot that they took the men and the materials all down to the dam construction site. And there's some of the cars that actually took them down there. Now, these men worked 363 days a year. They were only off on July 4th and Christmas Day. Now, the company that built Hoover Dam was actually a conglomerate of 6 different companies, and they chose the imaginative name of 6 Companies Limited. They had to build everything. They had to build the roads, the railroads, the infrastructure for the town, the housing for the workers and the managers. They even had to do the landscaping. Boulder City was actually one of the first planned communities in the United States. Now, 6 Companies Limited did not want their workers drinking and gambling here in Boulder City. So to this day, Boulder City is one of only 2 cities in Nevada that don't allow gambling. They didn't even allow alcohol sales until 1978, and then they got their priorities straight.
Boulder City.
Now, 91 men did die during the construction of the dam, and in a tragic twist of fate, the first man to die and the last man to die were father and son.
We won't be. We're leaving. We're leaving.
I don't know what the numbers are.
Start downtown.
I've probably already been recorded. Yeah. So this stuff is still like they were like actual residents of Pioneer. That's what we're saying. Quite a few people are doing
I guess we want to sit there and lie on the highway.
The guy who cleaned the latrines when they constructed the dam. Now, if you take a look out to the left side of the bus, we've got the Dam Roast House, best coffee in town. And over here on the right, the Dam Store. Their jokes are worse than mine.
You said.
Now we've got another statue up here on the left. We got a pair of workers doing the time-honored tradition of taking a break. And if you look straight up the hill, you'll see the headquarters for the Lake Mead National Recreation Area. It was the headquarters for the construction of the dam. This is the hub of activity.
Lake Mead.
Now this house coming up on the left right here, it was built for one of the owners of 6 Companies Limited, so he could watch the water rise in Black Canyon as it became Lake Mead. More recently, it was owned by rock star Vince Neil from Motley Crue. He just recently sold it for $4.3 million. It's got a world-class recording studio, a nightclub that holds 45 people, and a really big swimming pool. Now, back in 1988, Lake Mead was full to capacity, 100%. But since then, in the last 40 years, we have lost more than half of the water. We are down to 47% capacity now. And when that happens, you get things that are above water that used to be underwater. For example, there was actually a town called St. Thomas that was in Black Canyon, had to be evacuated when the dam was built and was going to flood the area. The last man in town sat in a rowboat, let the water pick him up, and then he burned his own house down. They asked him about it. They said, "Were you angry?" And he said, "No. How often do you get a chance to burn your own house down?" Hoover Dam Lodge. Hoover Dam Lodge is built on the site of one of the oldest casinos in southern Nevada.
But I thought there was no gambling.
Now, I told you that the company that built Hoover Dam didn't want their workers going to Las Vegas and or gambling in Boulder City. So they built this place just over the city limits. Isn't that convenient? Now, Hoover Dam Lodge is also one of the most haunted casinos in southern Nevada. I'll let you know how that happened. There were men who worked on the dam during construction. They were known as high scalers. It was their job to hang off a cliff from a rope about 150 feet, armed with nothing but a jackhammer and some dynamite. They would jackhammer a hole in the cliff wall, put the dynamite in, detonate the dynamite, and then kick off, hoping to get outside of the blast radius. Didn't always work, folks. We lost some good men that way, and there are those who say they're still walking the halls of Hoover Dam Lodge today. Those who have seen them say they're just hanging around.
I would go see that.
Well, what'd you expect? They'd be a bunch of swingers?
Yeah.
He tries to be funny, but he doesn't.
Now, before 9/11, there was only one way to get between Nevada and Arizona in this area, and that was to drive right across the dam itself, one lane in each direction. All cars, all buses, all trucks
I want to go
had
see
to go
those
across the
ghosts in
dam.
there.
Between the sightseers and the traffic, it sometimes took 5 to 7 hours just across the dam itself. So after 9/11, when it was deemed too dangerous to let just anybody down to the dam area, they built a federal security checkpoint, and they built the Mike O'Callahan Pat Tillman Memorial Bridge as a bypass, so you didn't have to drive over the dam itself anymore. Now the Mike O'Callahan Pat Tillman Memorial Bridge.
You can't even. No, you can't tell how like magnificent that is.
I don't know what you got up on the top, but it almost looks like a place for
Yeah, it looks like stand-up pillars or something like. Yeah, it does. Maybe there are little villages up there, and that's like a horror movie kind of village. Like that right there looks like the ruin.
Are the two cars that John Lasseter saw that gave him the idea for the movie Cars.
Route 66, right there.
Over
Slot
on the
Museum.
left, you'll see the Old West storefront. That's where they used to have the Wild West shows. And on the left, we've got the world famous Roadkill Cafe. Now, folks, I've never eaten there, but I do hear they have the best food on the road. Now, back in the 30s and 40s, most of the buildings here would have been gas stations, or today they're almost all private residences.
They look pretty abandoned. Bars on the windows.
All right, folks, we're going to be stopping over here on the right at the Copper Cart. Copper Cart used to be a world-famous restaurant. Today it is a Route 66 souvenir shop and a motorcycle museum. They also have some of the cars from Cars. I think I see Mater.
Oh, look at the old police car. Fun bus.
All right, folks, it's going to be a quick 15-minute stop. We're going to be back on the bus at 10:55. 10:55.
Part of Route 66. Route 66. Ooh, gross. But there's hummingbirds in that little road. You used to ride on those things all the time. Pretty cool. Cool little magnets. Here you go, babe. Here's your shot glass. Oh, these ones are cool.
Did they say anything?
Not for $15. Just says Arizona with a cactus. Bottoms up. That's cool. Those ones are cool. They're not terrible. So we're at Route 66 in Arizona. This is Little Seligman, which is the birthplace of the historic Route 66. Really cool, awesome little, there's a whole bunch of Triumph stuff. Kinds of motorcycles, fancy cars. You only get 10 minutes here, which kind of stinks, but it's really nifty. Arizona Charger 2. Hello here, buddy. You just turned and looked at her for pictures. You're a good boy, aren't you? You see lots of people. This is a cool little... Look at it. Beware a log. Alien shooting guns. More road there in there. Babe, I think we need this cow seat. That's cool. Park your butt on our couch. Route 66. That's pretty awesome. What? We gotta go? Pick ones where you're not, get your kicks on Route 66. Pretty cool. Got a little saloon over here. An airplane crashed into the building. That little saloon's called the Black Cat Bar. They must know Bella.
I didn't realize we were in 66, so that just added another something.
Absolutely.
All right, everyone, if you take a look off the left side of the bus, you'll see the Roadrunner Cafe. It used to be the Roadrunner Saloon. Big party place here back in the 1930s and 40s. And over here on the right, we have the Deluxe Inn. It's the oldest hotel in town. Built in 1932, right after the highway came through here. And over here on the right, we've got the Snowcat Burger. It's the burger joint and ice cream parlor every small town needs. Only this one holds the Guinness Book of World Records for most milkshake variations.
I didn't realize you can just hit that up and just like try to shrink it down. I didn't notice that. Instead of stopping and stopping.
Yep.
So it'll continue the video.
Yep.
I wish I would have known that because
I just noticed it like within the last week or so.
I made a lot of little 10, 15 second long videos back to back to back. And so that way you don't have to put them all together.
Yeah.
We are just about an hour and 45 minutes away from the gates to Grand Canyon National Park. I don't have much of a weather update for you. It's going to be about 60 degrees, 8-mile-an-hour wind, and about half cloud cover. So it's going to make for great picture taking weather. Lots of definition. Williams likes to call itself the gateway to the Grand Canyon, but it's an awful long gateway. We're still about 60 miles away from the gates of the Grand Canyon National Park. What Williams is known for is being the southern terminus of the Grand Canyon Railway. That is a dedicated spur of the Atchison, Topeka, and the Santa Fe Railroad that goes from here 65 miles north to the Grand Canyon Depot in Grand Canyon Village. They have a wonderful tour that they do. They give you a Wild West show before you get on the train. They actually pretend to rob the train. And during the holiday season, they actually have a Polar Express themed tour where you go through a tunnel and end up at the North Pole. And they have hot chocolate for everybody. Cars that are so popular with railroad fans. Now, about half of you are coming with me on the guided photography tour, and we will not have a time or place to sit down and eat lunch. So if you'd like to eat your lunch now, that would be a good idea. If you're on the self-guided tour, you are more than welcome to eat your food. The lodging and the dining inside of the park is so limited. Out here they have hotels, resorts, motels, fast food joints, steak houses, and even the IMAX Visitor Center. Now we're getting close to the gates, folks, so when we go through the gates and we get to Mather Point, I'm going to have my guided photography tour people get off the bus first. I will take care of you guys, and then I will come back on and talk to the self-guided tour and give you guys some important information. If you're self-guided, please do not get off the bus until I come back on and talk to you. I've got some really important information for you. But as I said, my guided photography tour will be getting off the bus first, and those people are Carol, Juan, Maria S., Florence, Toby, Ninan, Dawn, Alice, Ray, Tammy, Jane, Kathleen, Ashish, Terry, Radislaw, Catherine, and Linda. If you heard your name, you guys are on the guided photography tour, and you'll be getting off the bus first. What I say for the first 10 minutes when you see the canyon. But what I'll do is I'll come around after 10 minutes and I'll say, let's all meet at the bottom of the stairs on the left. And I'll come around and I'll point it out, okay? You guys will know what I mean when we get down there. We're gonna meet at the bottom of the stairs on the left 10 minutes after we get there. Now, this is a place where people tend to get lost, and that's because they either straggle too far behind or they take off out at Mather Point and start going down the rim trail. We're not doing either of those. We're coming back here in about 20 minutes and getting right on that bus. And we're going to take that bus to Grand Canyon Village and continue the tour from there. Okay? So, most important, if you do get separated from the tour, you'll go over to that visitor center over there across the parking lot. You'll take the blue shuttle bus to Grand Canyon Village. That's where the bus is going to be waiting in front of Bright Angel Lodge to take us home at 3:45. Now, it's really hard to link back up with the tour if you get separated.
I never figured in a million years I'd be at the Grand Canyon. Look at the beauty. 50 years. That's how long it took me to get to the Grand Canyon for the first time. Scott went to one of the scary points, and I'm just sitting here, mesmerized, relaxing, taking it all in. This is magnificent. So breathtaking.
You know, there's over 1.3 million cubic meters of concrete in that dam. That's a lot of damn concrete. See what I did there? And of course, because we're crossing the river, I get to say, welcome to Nevada, we're back. Now folks, we're just about 35 minutes away.